Hello everyone, I am Saad and today I am going to talk about the elephant in the room, a particular asset of your website that is responsible for making it either slow and crappy or super fast. Yeah, I'm talking about no other than images and how if they are not optimized, your site's performance literally goes to hell. So before I begin, let me introduce myself. My name is Saad. I am a senior year computer science undergrad student currently working as a student expert at Rapid API. I am a huge fan of what open source stands for and I love building open source softwares. In fact, I have personally authored 20 plus open source tools that are used by thousands of developers out there. I love giving back to my community. My love for it took me to get accepted into different community based programs at Google and Microsoft. If you want to reach out to me, I am most active on my Twitter and you should also definitely follow me there. So now let's talk about image optimization. I have built this small demo using Next.js with simple HTML image tag and then the image component of Next.js. In using this demo, I'm going to show you how the simple image tag works, what are some of the disadvantages of using the image tag, and I am also going to show you the working of the image component of Next.js and some of the advantages of using the image component over image tag. So without any further ado, let's jump in. So I'm going to click on this image button. It is going to take me to another page where I am loading a bunch of images using simple image HTML tag. So I'm going to click on it. You see that there are a bunch of images in here. They are being loaded on the screen. By the way, all of these images are being taken from unsplash.com if you want to visit. So I'm going to go back up there. So there is how it works button. I'm going to click on it. It is going to take me to this page. So let's take a look at the inner working of image tag. You define the source and alt attributes of image tag. The client requests the server for the image using the provided source. The server sends back the image in its original format. For example, if the image is a JPEG, it is going to send back a JPEG. If it is a PNG, it is going to send back a PNG. The image tag then renders the image with its original size. It is not going to take into account the user's browser or the user's viewport. If the user is on a mobile device, it is still going to load the same image. So this is how it works. Let's take a look at some cons of using the image tag. And the server requests all images at once. What does that mean is that, for instance, you have an image at the very bottom of the page and you have just loaded the website and the image is at the bottom, and you don't necessarily want to go to the bottom of the page, yet the image has still being loaded on the screen. The client has still requested the server for that image even if you don't go to the bottom. Let me show you. If I just go back to this area and open the developer tools, let's go to the networks tab. You see, now I'm going to hard reset this page and you will see a lot of requests here, and all of these requests will be related to getting the images from the server. You see, there are a lot of requests here. Some of them have been successful, some of them are still pending, but yeah, there are a lot of requests in here. Even at the image that is at the very bottom of the screen is being requested from the server. Even if I don't want to go to the very bottom, it is still being requested from the server. So it is actually wasting users bandwidth, and it is also at the same time decreasing the site's performance, because all of the images are being requested from the server, which should not be the case, because let's say the user don't want to see the very last image on the screen. So this is one of the problem with this image tag. So let's close this and go to how it works again. So let's go to the bottom of the page again, and you see there is no lazy loading with simple HTML image tag. What it means is that client should request server for an image as soon as it is about to appear on the viewport. It shouldn't request for all the images at once. This issue is basically related to the first one. So yeah, there is no lazy loading with simple HTML image tag. And now let's take a look at the last one. Layout shift occurs. So this is actually cumulative layout shift that occurs with simple HTML image tag. So what happens is, let's say you have a huge image in your website and the image is in the middle of some content. When the image is loading, the content is going to appear side by side. As soon as the image appears, the content is going to move away from each other. So this is called cumulative layout shift, and it is one of the issues that arises with using simple HTML image tag. So this is the image tag. Some of the issues that we saw was there was no lazy loading. The server requests all the images at once, even if the user doesn't even maybe don't even need those images. There is cumulative layout shift that occurs using the simple HTML tag. So now let's go back to the home page and talk about the image component of Next.js. So I'm going to click on this image button here. It is going to take me to another page where I am loading a bunch of images using the image component of Next.js. So let's do that. You see this image is blurred. I'm going to tell you about this later, why it is blurred. Almost all of them are blurred right now. If I go back up there, you will see that this image has been loaded, and this one as well, this one as well. And now if I go down, almost all the images have been loaded. Some of them are still haven't been loaded and they are still blurred. I'm going to tell you about why they are blurred a little later. So let's go to this, how it works. So let's take a look at how you can use the image component in Next.js. You provide the image component with a source, an alternate text, a width, and a height of the image. The client then requests the server for the image using the provided source. The server sends back the image with Webp format. The image component then renders the image according to the viewport. Let's take a look at the component in action. So I have this code here. So by the way, this is the code for this, this application you are seeing. So this is the image component. I have a source, an alternate text, a quality. I'm going to tell you about this later. Then there is width, height, and then again I'm going to tell you about these two as well, a little later. But these are placeholder and blur data URL. And yeah, so let's go back and scroll down to take a look at the pros. So the first thing that you will see is that Next.js optimizes image by adding source set. So what is source set? So, earlier I talked about how, the image tag doesn't care about what the viewport of the user is. It just gives the image in its original size. Next.js doesn't do that. The image component of Next.js automatically adds the source set even if you haven't added it yourself. So let's take a look. So let's go back to the previous page. I am going to then inspect this picture, and you will see that I have a source set attribute here. I haven't added this attribute myself. Next.js has automatically added this using the image component. I can even show you. You see, I don't have any source set attribute. I have just source attribute here. So if I just go back, and I'm going to show you one other thing as well. You can see that I have a file size of 16.3 KB. And if I just show you the size of the original image, it is 446 KB. It's like 500 KB image, and it's been optimized to 16.3 KB using Next.js. So what does this source set do? It actually renders different size images based on the device pixel ratio of whatever device you are using to see the application. Let's say you are on a laptop, then in that case it is going to render a larger image. Let's say you are now on a mobile device, it is going to render a smaller image now. So it is actually optimizing images based on different screen sizes and different screen resolutions. So let's close this now and go back to how it works. Scroll down. So let's take a look at the second advantage now. Next.js image component serves Webp format. If I scroll up, you will see that I have written the server sends back in the image with Webp format. So what is this format? It is actually the recommended image format that you should use in your websites. Google states that Webp typically achieves an average of 30% more compression than JPEG and JPEG 2000 without loss of image quality. And Apple has also recently added the Webp format support in the Safari browser last year. So let me show you how the server is sending you this Webp format. Let's go back to the previous page, open the developer tools here, go to the networks tab. Now if you scroll down, you will see images are being requested from the server, and the type of them are Webp. So let's close this and go back up here and go to how it works page and scroll down. So the next thing is Next.js image component prevents cumulative layout shift. Earlier I explained to you what cumulative layout shift is, and with Next.js image component you can prevent this. What happens is, if you are using a Next.js image component, the content is not going to be appeared side by side. In fact, it will have a space for the image where the image will come as soon as it renders on the screen. So the next one we have is lazy loading. What is it? Let's take a look. I'm going to go back to the previous page. So I'm going to hard reload this page now, and you see that this is now blurred. Now I'm going to inspect element this page, go to the networks tab, and now if I just scroll down, as this image appears in the viewport, you can see that the client has requested a server for this image. You can see it's pending right now. And now if I again scroll down, you can see that client has again requested server for another image. And again scroll down. As I'm scrolling down, the client is requesting servers for more images. If I go back up, you can see that with images with 200 status have been rendered on the screen. So this is actually lazy loading. The client has not requested all the images at once from the server. In fact, as soon as the image is about to appear in the viewport, the client is requesting that image. You can see all of these are at 200 status, and all, if I go down, there are more images that are being requested from the server. And yeah, you can see that. So this is actually what lazy loading is, and it greatly affects the performance of your web application. So one more thing that I should add is, if you want an image to appear instantly as soon as the website loads, you can also do that with the image component. All you need to do is provide the loading prop and set its value to eager, and you will have an image instantly load as soon as the website loads. So let's now close this and go back to how it works. So now let's take a look at another advantage. So with Next.js image component, you have built-in responsiveness in your images. Let's take a look at what it means. I'm going to go to the previous page, and now again I'm going to inspect element this page. Let's select this option, and from here let's go with responsive. If I show you now, what happens is, when I have a wider screen, I have this image, and as soon as the screen gets small, the size of the image changes along with it. So this is built-in responsiveness in Next.js image component. And you can also take a look that I have not added anything in Next.js image component that is related to responsiveness, and it is handling this itself. So now let's close this and go to how it works page again. So the next thing we have is placeholder prop option. Earlier I said that I'm going to tell you about that blurry effect later, and this is it. If we go back, and if I hard reload this page, you will see that there is this blurry effect here. What's happening is, right now the client has requested server for this particular image, and while it is waiting for the server to give it back a response, it is actually adding a placeholder, and I am using that particular image that is being requested from the server as a placeholder as well. So it's being rendered on the screen, and you can see if I just scroll down, there are some blurry pictures, and they are just being rendered on the screen with the original images. Let's take a look at how you can do this in your Next.js application. So I have this image component here. What I need to do is, now I have to add this placeholder prop and give it the value of blur. And the next thing is, you need to give it a blur data URL. It is going to take the URL of the image that you want in place of the placeholder. So you need to give it the URL of that image. So now let's go back to the how it works page, scroll down, and so we have the last one, that with Next.js image component, you can set the image quality of an image. The default image quality is 75. Like, if you are not setting the image quality, it is going to be 75 for any image that you insert. The range is actually 1 to 100, and you can select any of the number between this range, and the Next.js is going to automatically optimize your image according to that number. So this is it, folks. I hope you like this talk, and now you know the difference between the image tag and the image component of Next.js. And now you're going to use the image component of Next.js to make your websites even faster than they are right now. I'm going to share the link of this small demo that I created on my Twitter. So if you are not following me there, you should definitely follow me. I think that is pretty much it. Until next time, see ya.